With the retirements of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, does Sai Sudharshan finally have a chance to make it into that Indian team?
With Sai Sudharshan's inclusion in the India A squad that is travelling to England and the fact that he's in such great form in the IPL, it only begs the question about if he can make it to the India squad and if he's done enough to be in the selector's eyeline. Now, before we talk about Sai Sudharshan, his numbers and other batters who could potentially fight for the same spot, hit the subscribe button.
Over the last couple of seasons, Sai Sudharshan has been an absolute revelation, especially in the IPL and for what he's been able to do with the Gujarat Titans. Sai Sudharshan has been an extremely impressive and consistent player in the IPL ever since he's made his debut. In the 37 matches that he's played thus far, he scored over 1,600 runs in the IPL, but not only that, he's been so consistent. He scored at an average of 50 and he's got a strike rate of 145. And in this short period of time, he's already got 2 centuries in the IPL to go with 11 half centuries. However, 2025's IPL seems to be an absolute revelation for Sai Sudharshan as we are seeing another side of his play. Not only are we seeing him attack a lot more, but this is also very reflective in his numbers itself. With a career best strike rate of 157 this season, Sai Sudharshan is averaging 56 and he's already got 105 50s. Even his overall T20 numbers, which includes the numbers that he has for Tamil Nadu, are pretty impressive. In the 57 matches that he's played, he's got over 2,000 runs, again at a very impressive average of 43, and he also strikes at 137. And with Sai Sudharshan, these numbers are also translating not only in the shortest format, but from there also to the List A format where he's playing 50 over games. In 28 matches, he has almost 1,400 runs at an extremely brilliant average of 60 and a strike rate of 95. But not only that, he's got 600s and 650s to his name.
Now, before we talk about Sai Sudharshan's first class numbers, what is interesting is after the India A squad was announced, a lot of people criticized the selectors for selecting Ishan Kishan in the squad because if you look at his first class numbers, it's not all that impressive. He's played 58 first class matches with an average of just 37. If you compare this to other first class batters in India, these numbers are below par. Even considering the fact that he's a wicketkeeper batter, there are other wicketkeeper batters in the country in the first class arena who have better numbers than him. And we bring up Ishan Kishan and the criticism he got, especially because if you look at Sai Sudharshan's red ball numbers, it's again not all that great. He's played a total of 29 first class games with an average of just 39. For a top order batter, this is not the most impressive number. Even if you break these numbers down into playing for Tamil Nadu, India A and the county stints that he has had, he still doesn't have a standout performance. For Tamil Nadu, he's played 12 games, he scored 900 runs with a decent average of 45. He has 300s and 250s in his name. Of course, the average of 45 is decent enough, but if you look at the Tamil Nadu batting setup and the fact that Sai Sudharshan is a top order batter, there are better batters in the Tamil Nadu squad itself with better averages and more runs.
It's also important to consider the fact that outside of just playing for Tamil Nadu, Sai Sudharshan has also constantly been a part of the India A setup and has also played a couple of seasons of county cricket. With India A, he's played 6 matches where he's got 392 runs at an average of 39.2. He's got 200s and 150, and out of these, the one century that he got that stood out was against Australia A when India A was touring them last year. Apart from this, his county stint has been very limited, with him playing 2 and 3 games respectively in consecutive seasons where his average was just about 30 but nothing special. And the question that this really raises is that is Sai Sudharshan at a place where he's good enough to be a part of the red ball setup already for the Indian team, or if it's just a lot of hype being created around him because specifically of his IPL numbers. Now, it is no secret that the players who are playing in the IPL and are also doing well obviously get a lot of the mainstream media attention. Keeping that in mind and the kind of season that Sai Sudharshan has had, especially in this year's IPL, it is no surprise that he is being pushed by the media and also a lot of fans who are looking forward to seeing him in that England series. But even beyond this, he did have a very good season this time around with the Ranji Trophy setup, where he only played 3 games but he did have an average of 76. And this is where it's going to be very important for Sai Sudharshan to improve his red ball numbers, because he's definitely doing the part in white ball cricket. But if you're criticizing someone like an Ishan Kishan for the kind of red ball numbers he has, it's only fair that we do the same for Sai Sudharshan. And the fact that he's young also means that he has more time, which is also a reason why he might have gotten picked.
Now that we have to talk about Shubman Gill after Sai Sudharshan, have you downloaded the ball by ball data?
Bro, you won't believe it. I started the download so long back and we're still stuck at 92%. And this happens all the time.
Bro, I swear I've been trying to decode Shubman Gill's technique looking at a video and it keeps buffering. It hasn't continued ever since.
Wi-Fi is like, bus karo yaar.
Relatable, no? Happens to you too.
Not anymore for us though, because now we've switched to Act Smart Wi-Fi.
Act Zippy, the intelligence that powers smart Wi-Fi. It's AI powered. It tends to learn how we use the internet at home. When we download those massive IPL stats or watch videos together, it distributes speed smartly.
No manual fixes, no fighting for a better signal. It automatically gives priority where it is needed. And you know what's cooler? Act Zippy proactively monitors 24/7. So before a glitch even reaches us, in most cases, it optimizes on its own.
And dead zone's gone. We can literally work from any corner of the house now.
Smart home deserves smart Wi-Fi. Get the best Wi-Fi experience with Act Smart Wi-Fi.
And all of this available at the same cost you would pay for a non-smart Wi-Fi. So what are you waiting for? Is your Wi-Fi smart enough for the hustle? If not, it's time to switch. Head down to our description now. Talking about Sai Sudharshan and the kind of batter he is, there are other batters in the Indian setup, multi-format batters that is, who will fight for the same spot. Now note here is that some batters have already solidified their spot in some of the formats, but they will be a direct competition to Sai Sudharshan. The first name on this list has to be Sai Sudharshan's opening partner in Gujarat Titans, the captain of the franchisee, the vice captain in the white ball setup in the ODI format, and a potential red ball captain, that's Shubman Gill. We've already made a video on his test numbers and if he should be the captain in the format. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. But if you look at his white ball numbers, they are outstanding. In the ODI format, he's played 55 matches with an average of 59. He has 800s and 15 50s in his name with a highest score of 208. Now, while we have criticized Shubman Gill in the red ball setup, he hadn't put a foot wrong until he entered the Indian Test team. Because currently his first class average is 47.2, which is way above his test average of 35. But not just this, before he entered the Indian team, he played 9 matches for the India A squad, scoring more than 1000 runs with an average of 78. Now these are numbers that would warrant a selection into the Indian squad.
Also thinking about it logically, it would make sense that Sai Sudharshan would be able to break into a T20 squad, especially because of the fact that he is performing in the IPL. Now you already have Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma who are currently in the T20 squad and have more or less cemented their place. But even if you disregard those two players for a moment and look at just Shubman Gill as competition to Sai Sudharshan, his T20 numbers are also incredibly impressive. Shubman has played 21 T20 internationals for India where he has an average of 30 and a strike rate of 139. But if you take a look at his IPL numbers, they're second to none. Ever since 2020, Shubman Gill has consistently had seasons where he scored 400 runs or more. Let's not also forget the season in 2023 where he scored 890 runs and was rightfully the winner of that orange cap. Even in this year's IPL, Shubman Gill has already crossed 600 runs with an incredibly impressive average of 60. And he's also striking at 155, which is his second best strike rate ever in the IPL seasons that he's played thus far.
The next player on this list, according to us, even though he's rated very highly, he's the most underrated all-format opener we have currently. Of course, we are talking about yashasvi jaiswal. If you look at his numbers across formats, you'll realize that his numbers are right up there. Even though he has only played one ODI match for India, if you look at his list A career, you'll realize why he's the backup opener for the Indian team. In the 33 list A games that he has played, he has an average of 52 and a strike rate of 85 with 500s and 750s in his name. But if you look at his test and first class numbers, this is where Jaiswal triumphs all of the other openers in this current setup. In the 19 test matches that he has played for India, he has an average of 52 with 400s and 1050s. But then when you look at his first class numbers, it's a lot better. He's played 36 first class games with an average of 60 with 1300s and 1250s. He has more hundreds than 50s.
And even in T20 internationals, in 23 games, this man has an average of 36 and an impressive strike rate of 164. He's also got a T20 century. But despite all of these things, Jaiswal does not even feature in the T20 squad. And like Shubman Gill, Jaiswal too has been extremely consistent in the IPL, especially since 2023 where he's regularly had seasons where he's got 400 plus runs. In the IPL too, despite having a career average of 34, he's gone a notch higher this year where he has an average of 43 and is striking at 158. Considering the fact that Jaiswal is also a left-handed batter and will very likely cement his spot as an opener for all formats in India, Sai Sudharshan has some really stiff competition at the top.
Now, even if Sai Sudharshan is not preferred at the opening spot. He has shown that he can bat in the top 4, and this is where we talk about Devdutt and Ruturaj Gaikwad. Now, both of them have been a feature in the India A squad that travelled to Australia before the Border Gavaskar Trophy. They also made the Test debut at the same time against England at home, which also means that they are getting a push from the Indian selectors, especially Ruturaj Gaikwad, who's also the vice captain in the current India A squad that's travelling to England. Now, what's interesting is if you look at Devdutt and Ruturaj Gaikwad's averages in the first class arena, both of these guys triumph Sai Sudharshan in terms of runs and averages. Devdutt averages 41 in first class cricket, whereas Ruturaj Gaikwad has an average of 45. Even in the series where India A played Australia A before the Border Gavaskar Trophy, Devdutt and Ruturaj Gaikwad scored a lot of runs. Devdutt was the second highest run scorer with an average of 37, whereas Ruturaj Gaikwad, who only featured in that one match, scored 50s in both innings, and by the end of that match had an average of 74. Interestingly, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Sai Sudharshan and Devdutt were the only Indian batters to average more than 30 in that series.
And another thing that we can compare here is the white ball numbers. And by far, Devdutt Padikkal is the best of this lot when it comes to white ball cricket, especially the 50-over format. Here's a man who in 33 games has a Bradmanisk average of 79.6. Now, these are numbers that you will not come across on a daily basis, and rightfully because of this, Devdutt also has gotten a push in red ball cricket and for the Indian team. And if you look at Ruturaj Gaikwad, he has a list A average of 47.2. Both Ruturaj Gaikwad and Devdutt Padikkal have also recently been in good form in the IPL, especially Devdutt Padikkal, who did have a couple of lean seasons in the IPL, was finally starting to find his feet again, but unfortunately got injured.
Now, of course, these are young potential multi-format players, but there is an outlier in all of this, and that's Ruturaj Gaikwad. Apart from a list A average of 56, his current form and his numbers are not really comparable to any of these batters, except for again Sai Sudharshan, where Ruturaj Gaikwad has a first class average of 41 and Sai Sudharshan again has a first class average of 39. The good news is both of these guys are selected for that India tour. Ruturaj Gaikwad was batting well for the Chennai Super Kings until he got injured, but that being said, the competition Ruturaj Gaikwad has now is immense. Something to note here is that we haven't talked about format specific players, and we also haven't talked about someone like a KL Rahul, who's already cemented his place in the white ball and the red ball format. Now, this has been a video on potential young multi-format players. If you have enjoyed this video, like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you want to learn more about Act Smart Wi-Fi, go down to our description, click on the link and learn more. If you haven't followed us on our socials, do that too. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.